Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I love having you all here. We got quite a few guests with us today. First off, we got a LaggySon on production once again, doing our practicing that those production standpoints and trying to get those transitions and those angles as smooth as possible. So, thank you, Laggy, for running our production tonight. And new face to the channel here is Dispel. Dispel, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, I'm Dispel. I'm also, some of you might know me, I'm a player for Boop, but I'm today your analyst commentator.
Yep.
Uh,
So Dispel reached out to me and wanted to start off on play-by-play, but what I typically do with people that have not casted before, and I want to make sure I'm not assuming that you haven't casted before, correct?
no, I have not. This is
So,
an experience for everyone here.
yeah. So typically what I do, I personally believe that the best play-by-play casters are the best analysts, at least starting off. So it shows that you know a lot about the game and knows what you're looking for. And if we would have started earlier today, if Contenders Trials hadn't gone long and Monkey Bubble didn't yoink me away for something that that kind of threw off our evening, we probably would have tried to start off with a technique that's being used called predictive casting, which is or what is it? It's like called pause and predict. I think it's what it's called. And basically, right before a fight happens, you pause the scene, and then you just kind of take in the lay of the land. And you're like, okay, so what is the most likely scenario that is going to happen going into this fight? And then we just kind of break it down, and then we go into casting it. Like, we unpause it, and then we just go into casting it. So unfortunately, we don't have time for that tonight because we're already starting almost at 10 o'clock Eastern, but we will be getting into that stuff you know and love, folks. So let's go ahead and show people who we're going to be seeing tonight. Starting off, our first two matches are between a Reckless Shockwave and Lotus for this first one. And then we will be seeing Flashbacks versus Void in our third match, and end with Firefight versus Game of Throws. So our first match is going to be taking us to the beautiful, the wonderful Nepal, where we will be seeing Reckless Shockwave versus Lotus. Now, Nepal lends itself to a lot of different environments, a lot of different compositions, and especially when we're talking Reckless Shockwave and Lotus, I believe both teams being in the Harmony tier, if I remember correctly. Um, as a platinum player, I know that it does not matter what the meta is. Going into this, it literally does not matter what the meta is. So
I actually think these are two Discord tier teams.
oh, are they Discord tier? I already had a hard enough time before there were over 70 teams, and now it's just that much harder.
I'm in Harmony tier, and I don't think I even can keep track of who all's there.
Yeah, just trying to. I remember on the beat drop we've asked people about that. Is like, oh, like who is who do you know in your tier? It's like just pretty much everyone we faced. So yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
It is Discord tier. I was wrong on that. So we'll be seeing this Discord tier match. But even so, like unless you get up to that Masters GM top 500 level, like that elite area of play, the meta doesn't lend itself to a lot of differences. So I've seen so many cheesy compositions come out in the Harmony and Discord tier. I mean, I've seen them in the Transcendence tier too, but they typically get punished relatively quickly. So starting off tonight, this first map is going to be what I call mock casting. So back when I was a lead for another community for their production department, when I brought in new casters that hadn't casted before, what I would do is just do this kind of rotation on a control map. So the first round I would play by play, they would analyze. Second round they would play by play, I would analyze, and then the third map would give them an idea of what, if there is a third map, we haven't seen this yet, would give them an idea of what they're comfortable with, and then we start practicing from there. So we'll just go ahead and hit it. I'll be the play-by-play for this, and Dispel will be my analyst. So just make sure, Dispel, I'll try to transition as best as I can. And just kind of pick up one of the key things that you look out for when casting, folks, is I like to call it the dip. So when I'm casting, I'll usually go, hey, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, things and things and things, and my voice dips down, and that's the transition point. So let's go ahead and pause just for a moment so that we can take a look real quick here. So Dispel, tell me about what you see getting ready to come into this fight right now.
Yeah, well, it's Nepal, which is one of my personal favorite maps. And part of that is because we're seeing the classic brawl on this map. And very interesting, I think, in this last patch, we've seen the variation of brawl incorporating this Orisa.
Oh, yeah.
Which we're actually seeing the battle cattle be locked in with both teams at the start here. And it looks like we have almost mirrors going on. Yeah, with the exception of the McCree and May between the two teams. So it'll be very interesting to see in these very similar comps, really who just has the more coordinated brawl is what we're going to be looking for here. Who is rotating their cooldowns well, who is getting value out of the speed amp in, and who gets that initial first pick that's so critical really to these brawl comps.
Yeah, especially looking at the two Symmetras that are on each team, especially for Village. The Symmetra that sets up first on the objective usually will be the team that takes the objective first, because it is so hard to, especially if you aren't focusing the turrets as quickly as you should be, you end up finding yourself just being melted by them when you're not paying attention. So whichever one of these teams end up finding themselves into the objective first is more than likely going to be the one to take it. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Let's go ahead and roll the tape there, Laggy, and we'll get this show on the road. All right, welcome back, folks. Teams getting ready to move into the objective. Symmetra teleporter being used by Reckless Shockwave to move their way into the objective, but the Maywall coming up from Eternal ends up blocking out Hito very early in this fight. Immortality already utilized as we go ahead and see Lotus setting up on this objective. The objective has unlocked, and as Lotus pushes Reckless Shockwave off this objective with that initial Maywall, we will see them take control, but the battle is far from over. And now we are seeing the assault going in. The turrets just not up in the places that they need to be, and supercharged Stevs just melting down hero after hero with the rest of the team. At the 15% mark, we will see Reckless Shockwave take control.
Yeah, great patience there by Shockwave as well. They gave up the initial cap, but just kind of took their time, build up that amp matrix, which, oh my god, Baptiste builds that so fast, and they get the Fire Strike kill through it, and they're able to just push their way back into point and recap there.
All right, well, Kelkaneki getting ready to come up onto one of their own right now as we see Lotus taking control of the high ground. The turrets of Stevs going down, only one remaining. Immortality field already utilized by both sides as a Deadeye from Nyx ends up finding Eternal in the end. We see the picks continuing to come in one after another, a set of dominoes continuing to fall, and Lotus is headed back to spawn.
Yeah, and we're seeing again that theme of how critical that first pick is. Even with the Deadeye, which we typically think of as more of a zoning alt now these days, but just to secure that first pick from Nyx was huge in fending off Lotus's attack. Now Lotus, though, is coming in with 5 alts here, so this is a big fight for them, not only to have the alt advantage, but to make sure they don't use them all at once to set up for the second fight after this.
All right, we see the rotation coming in. Maywall goes up, and Berkey with the double fire strike coming, and the shatter comes out, but Blizzard holding Hito in place, not going to allow them to continue to hold this objective for long. As we see the staggers coming out, Lotus retakes control.
Yeah, and we are seeing so much value these teams are getting from the Amp Matrix. The Amp Matrix Fire Strike combo has just been so critical in securing one or two early picks that, again, with this brawl, you just amp speed in on those, and it's usually a pretty quick recap after that.
All right. We see the transition coming in from Reckless Shockwave as they look to take the high ground. It looks like for some reason they have one of their players a little bit further behind than the others. As we see lots of ultimates getting ready to come online. Nyx with that Deadeye probably going to look for this flank positioning to try to see if they can get it while the rest of the team is occupied. There it comes, right in the middle of the fight, but Uni with the triple kill. The Immortality Field not out soon enough. And with that pick at 69%, we will see Lotus continue to climb.
Yeah, what a big blossom there by Uni. Now, Lotus here also has 3 ults going into this as well. Reckless Shockwave has the Simwall and the Shatter. Oh, actually, they don't have the Simwall. They're swapping over to the Tracer here. So they're really only going to have the Shatter to work with there. We'll see what they do with it.
All right, Hito getting zoned out again, but the Shatter comes up in their favor, and boom! Getting the tackle in onto Eternal as the rest of the team rotates around the wall. Control going back to Reckless Shockwave.
Yeah, if you're at an alt disadvantage, really what you want to do is just hit first, which is exactly what Hito did there. He pretty much pressed Shatter as soon as he could, and it was enough to secure those kills and flip the point. And now we're coming into last fight territory here.
All right, Bongos and Amp Matrix utilized very early, ends up grabbing not a bronze. As we see the Shatter now coming out from Berkey. Just a lot of abilities coming out. Hito using the Shatter as well, but ends up getting caught up in that Blizzard. We see Nyx trying to get away, but I do not think they will be able to as Lotus retakes control. We are seeing Reckless Shockwave just trying to feed into this objective as quickly as they possibly can. Eternal falling in the final moments, though, and Reckless Shockwave bringing it right on back. Overtime ticking away, and I do not think Lotus will be able to get there in time. 100-99 as Reckless Shockwave takes the village.
Yeah, that's a close first round there. I want to highlight just quickly Bernie on the BAP. He's building a matrix almost every fight. And we saw there at the end, he secured 2 final blows there to turn that fight for Shockwave. He is putting on work to highlight the support players from Shockwave here.
Gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and pause for just a moment. So first thing to know while casting, only because I'm not 100% sure, but I will go ahead and double check now, is gender identity is always important, folks. I believe that very much so. And typically we have our prep sheets and it's only one team, so we don't have to prep as detailed as we want. But typically, if you don't know the gender as a caster, they them is always a good fallback. So it's inclusive, takes care of everyone, and you don't have to worry about it in the end. But let's go ahead and take a quick look and see who we've got for either team, if there are any genders we should be looking out for. So Kalkaneki, Volatile, and Sway for the side of Lotus are she, her identifiers, and Reckless Shockwave are all he, him. So we are good right there. So that just kind of brought me into a mindset, something to think about. We haven't hit that yet, but always something to keep in the back of your mind, that if you don't know it, they them is always a great fallback. So all right, so now I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to Dispel to go ahead and play-by-play this map while I go ahead and analyze. So Dispel, the floor is yours.
All right, it looks like we're going to have both teams rolling out here again on the Brawl with a little variation from Lotus. It looks like they were on the Doomfist. Maybe they're just TPing out with the Sim here. We'll see if that stays. But again, we're going to see Brawl Brawl, a variation by Reckless Shockwave again. They're swapping over to the Diva now. And as well, Lotus going to the Zarya instead of the Battle Cattle's taking a sit for a bit. And we're going to see here, Eternal on the Doom punches in, hits the Mei wall. But here we're just kind of, Ryan's trading swings on each other, the fire strikes. No picks yet. Zarya uses her friendly bubble from Lotus. And Lotus is just trying to kind of establish space. Put me in, coach, gets the pick on the McCree here. Lotus trading swings on Hito, and Lotus has kind of zoned out the point here. They're looking just to push Shockwave up. Uni gets the pick on Mei, and now the picks are coming in and the dominoes begin to fall. Lotus is going to clean up this point and establish the first control.
All right. Yes, indeed. And that was a very messy fight, and most of the time the teams that have their head on a swivel are able to deal with those messy fights early. The fact that Kalkaneki and Volatile were able to keep Berkey up despite the Mei wall separating them out from the rest of the objective made a very huge difference as we go ahead and see Reckless moving in again.
Yeah, they're going to use the Matrix here to establish... Oh, but Eternal with the pick on the BAP, that's big. Although they trade... Mei, Stevs on the Mei trades with Eternal. Hito gets the Fire Strike kill, gets the Zarya kill. They're going to establish control on this point. Let's see if they... no, that's going to be the cleanup from Lotus. Reckless Shockwave is going to flip this point here.
That was beautiful there. Eternal able to get that first pick onto Bernie. Taking down the main heals is a great way to start things off. But we saw the rest of the team just kind of hiding behind the pillar instead of trying to take the fight as Eternal made that initial opening. And now we're going to see this high ground hold.
And Shockwave, yeah, electing for this high ground kind of sneaky hold here. They get the pin on the Lucio, which is huge. That beat is no longer available for Lotus. And Shockwave is just going to press W here. Chase Lotus back to spawn, essentially. That was a little creativity from Shockwave there.
Yeah, there was that anticipatory, figuring out what the rotation was going to be from Lotus to start things off is always a good way to get in there. But the pick's already coming in for the side of Lotus.
Yeah, Shockwave maybe overstayed their welcome a little bit there. They get Lotus gets 2 picks on them, and they're going to engage now. Eternal with the Meteor Strike, and now they're going to clean up this point and flip it back. Critical there, they only used Shatter and the Doomfist ult, the Meteor Strike. They still have 4 ults to work with after this too. Shockwave's 3.
All right. Yeah, those ultimates are definitely going to be key in continuing to hold this point as we see Lotus taking the lead. I got to say, it was very interesting to see how Steves is using that Mei wall to try to separate out enemies on the objective. The issue was with the pick so early, like that on Nyx, it's not going to be a good way for them to move back in. Ooh.
Yeah, Eternal doing Doom things on Doom, getting those early picks. That are just shutting down these pushes before they can even happen. Shockwave here is going to have to reset again. And we're entering last fight here for Shockwave. They're going to need to get a touch in here on probably the Lucio.
That was a beautiful combination right there, using the Amp Matrix as well as the Graviton Surge to pull everybody together and hold them. But now it's a fight fest.
Yeah, and the beat comes out to stop that grab, and Lotus really just had a big ult advantage there. Although, actually, Shockwave is still in this. They get the picks. Nyx gets the Deadeye. Oh my god, Nyx shoots good. He's got 3 picks here in this fight. The counterpins from the Ryans. Hito cleans up Berkey, and Shockwave is going to get this flip.
Yeah, that was just really unfortunate. The beat was utilized, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of team cohesion as to which direction the team needed to go on the objective and which targets they needed to pick off first. I think because the Rhine dove in, everyone just kind of scattered and tried to figure it out. But as a team, you still got to be willing to focus those targets, and Eternal getting picked first is not a good start.
Yeah, he was looking for that pick there, but he, I think, mistakenly ran into their whole team there. And now the Mei Blizzard comes out. gets the Zarya gets a pick. Nyx gets 2 more picks. He is putting in work here for Shockwave. The Lucio beat comes out on the part of Shockwave, and that's actually Eternal comes in on the Doom, but no, he's not going to be able to stall this too long. The ball pick comes in. We'll get a few more seconds here. Buy the team a little more time. And the Matrix comes out, the May wall comes down, 2 Matrix here, and that's going to be the map, though. So they managed to get a few seconds stall there, but it's not enough, and Shockwave cleans up the map here.
All right. That was an absolutely beautiful map there between Reckless Shockwave and Lotus. So, Dispel, before I go ahead and start doting on you, praise and criticism, how do you think you did?
I was nervous. Play-by-play is hard. Yeah, the being able to kind of take in the whole fight and try and, get words into a sentence. It's challenging. It was fun, but yeah, definitely a bit nervous. But stumbled a few times. But being able to kind of survey and see what's happening in the fight definitely makes play-by-play very challenging.
Yeah, that is probably the most challenging part of play-by-play is that that rotation. And so, a couple tidbits for people that are interested in becoming a play-by-play. First of all, you don't have to shout out everything that's happening on the field. That includes ultimates. If the ultimate does nothing, ignore it. No big deal. Like really, really does not matter in the big scheme of things. So always keeping your eye on what the major focus of the fight is, and trying to keep the audience's attention on that as well. um as you said, you were stumbling a couple times. That's absolutely fine. After 3 years, I still stumble in fights like that. The fact that you engaged in the surprising swap that Nyx made on that map was great, because showing the audience that you are still surprised by things makes it that much more genuine. So that is always something to keep in mind. I love allowing my emotion to just kind of flow through my casting. And if I get surprised, I let the audience know about it, because I just want to be they're like ah, and I'm like ah. If we're all making the same face, if everybody's surprised, then that's exactly what we need right there. So the analyst was great. You were throwing back at key times. You're really breaking down the important parts of the fight. Play by play, very much the same. Just kind of cutting down the um, cutting down the words that you're using to call out everything and focus. So I guess the way that I say this is, as a play by play, you're more of a storyteller than just kind of pointing out the obvious. So the idea is, okay, I see, we see this person right here. They have an ult in the pocket. This could make space for them to be able to move into this objective. Oh, and there's the pick coming in first as we see them continuing to move into the objective. The follow up there. Oh, the triple Deadeye in the back line. Nobody expects it. Now it's a 3v5 fight on the objective. So just constantly going through that rotation of, okay, calling out maybe a pick here. We see an ultimate go down here or an ability used there. And then just kind of weaving it into a general story that the audience is following with their eyes already. So, yeah, chat's quiet tonight. So I know a lot of the things that I'm working on, especially are throws, because especially as I've gotten into these higher echelons of casting, and this it isn't against anyone that I've ever casted with before, folks, so don't take any offense. But I've had moments when I've casted with people that aren't as seasoned, I guess, in transitions and breaking things down. And so one thing that I've had to learn as I've moved up into reflash, and I'm working with professionals that practice like these tempos and know when to throw it back, is that I need to know when to throw it initially, because many times I've had to fill for people that either aren't able to analyze as much, or end up kind of falling flat during the middle of the play by play. And so putting myself back in my role, knowing, okay, I am the play-by-play. If the fight is over, boom, go straight over to the analyst so that they get their full time to break down as much of the fight as they want to. And another thing about the analyst role is that it's twofold. So not only is the analyst looking at what happened before, but the analyst is also being looking forward into the fight. So making sure, and you can do either or. You can do a combination of the two when you get your chance to talk. So you can be like, oh, like that ultimate really ended up changing how they captured that objective. They were able to rotate out of it easily and be able to maneuver or whatnot. Or look at that ult bank. It is absolutely huge. If they stagger ultimates in the way that we know that they can, they should be able to take this point relatively easily, or just doing a little bit of both, doing a little recap and a little looking forward. So we'll go ahead and continue to rotate round for round, going into our next map, Hanamura. Same teams. I believe they are swapping sides. So we'll be seeing Lotus on the right, Reckless Shockwave on the left. I'm looking to see if we have, I don't think we see any swaps for this one. Still the same faces, just different sides. So
Same six,
whenever you are ready to go there, Laggy, we'll go ahead and get this show on the road. All right. Welcome back, folks. Now we're heading into Hanamura as we see the initial victory on Nepal coming in from the side of Reckless Shockwave, but needless to say, it was hard fought. Either way, Reckless Shockwave was able to take the 2-0, but both of those maps ended up coming up to that 99 and 99. Now, as we head into Hanamura, Dispel, break it down for me. What are we seeing coming out from these teams?
Yeah, it looks like Shockwave, we're seeing something new. They're running this double shield poke comp. It looks like Lotus is going to stay on a Brawl, although they have this Ashe variant. So it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate that, because that's kind of unique to, I would say, the Brawl tanks and Brawl supports and the Mei that they're running here.
I think their idea is maybe to try to just get some damage over distance, anticipating that this double sniper comp we see coming out of Reckless Shockwave was probably going to end up happening. So let's see if they can create some space to be able to make that happen. Already, we are seeing them have a hard time moving in. The Mei wall comes up from Eternal, not able to grab Hito out as they were hoping, and the Immortality gets fed in. The trade comes in between Nyx and Berkey as Eternal taking down that Immortality field and pushing into the objective. GTZ, though, getting that cleanup on the supports, grabs the double kill as we see Eternal getting the follow-up on to Nyx. It's really going to be up to the tanks to be able to try to hold this together, but with Not a Bronze bringing Nyx back into the fight, that's going to be a cleanup in a minute off the clock.
Yeah, GTC, great job turning the fight there. We do see a bit of what they were trying to accomplish with Ashe, though. Uni was able to use their dynamite to put some initial pressure on the tanks of Reckless Shockwave, which allowed them to get that initial push in. But unfortunately, they just weren't able to sustain in that fight. And we have now for Shockwave about 4 ults coming online here, so they definitely have the ult advantage going into this fight.
Yeah, that initial pick onto Eternal is not going to be a good way to start. And wow, the reaction time there from GTZ to block the dynamite coming in from Uni is definitely huge. They do have a first tick on the objective, though.
Yeah, GTZ just stellar play so far. His ability, and again, he blocks. I mean, just that's good Sigma, good clean Sigma play right there.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. But Nyx coming out with that Bob does grab Eternal again with the Coalescence of Kel Kaneki, trying to see if they can hold everything together. Gets rocked and storm arrowed and sent right back to spawn. They are able to grab the second tick on the objective, but with 1:40 left, it's going to take a big fight for them to turn this around.
Yeah, again, we saw this a bit in map 1. Shockwave is displaying really good patience. And this is key if you're going to run this double shield poke comp, your rotations against the Brawl. They're willing to give the Brawl some space so that they can give their snipers time to hit those shots and burn the Brawl down before the Brawl can get to them. And they're just executing those rotations perfectly right now.
Yeah, that damage over distance is huge. Gravitic Flux being utilized by GTZ, and there comes the picks. The Amp Matrix ends up allowing Bernie and GTZ to just clean up that Gravitic, and once again, so close to being able to take this point, but so far away for Team Lotus as we head with only 50 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, GTZ is just doing a great job of holding down this fort. But again, he's giving his snipers time. The tanks in this comp are so critical to just giving your snipers, the Ashe and the Hanzo, time and space to hit those shots, to put pressure and burn down the enemy Rhine.
All right, here we go once again. Eternal now on the Symmetra, using it to teleport into the objective as the Bob gets utilized by Uni. And I think that's exactly what they're going to need. If you got a double shield composition, you just go ahead and burn it down with a good old Symmetra. And that's going to be objective Alpha captured. 3 minutes added back to the clock as we see Lotus move into objective Bravo.
Yeah, I mean, what did we say earlier about Shockwave executing those rotations? You know how you skip that? You just TP straight to the point. You can't be burned down if you just teleport there right away.
All right, Bob Ore being utilized on the objective as GTZ swapping over to that Zarya. Gets the initial pick on Put Me In, Coach. But there are still many players on the objective. Berkey and the rest of the team dropping down. Grabs Nyx and not a bronze. But Hito not going to allow that to stand for nothing. Going to go ahead and burn down the rest of the team with 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, Hito, great job there turning that fight. Now we have a beat coming up from Lotus as well, which can be a huge ult because Shockwave is going to have this Amp Matrix. They don't have much outside of that, though. So if they get called out of position with this Amp Matrix, they can use the beat to sustain. They also have Coalescence, another great sustain ult. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they actually, without needing to necessarily use it defensively, they could opt for an offensive beat here if they wish.
Ooh, teleporting to the high ground to try to see if they can drop down to the side. Teleporter Ore down very quickly. It's Put Me In, Coach trying to keep their players up on the objective, but Steves takes advantage of them not protecting themselves. Hito tackling in, not able to find the pick that they're looking for, but will end up grabbing Volatile in the end, and the picks just continue to come in. Minute 20 remaining on the clock.
Yeah, we've also seen GTZ swap over to this Zarya now, and he's they are getting pretty close to Grav here. They'll probably build it mid-fight, and so we'll have to see here if Lotus elects to save that beat for the Grav, or maybe they get the jump on them and just push in immediately before he has a chance, secure a pick, before he even has the chance to use that Grav.
All right. The rest of the team trying to move their way in as the Amp Matrix gets utilized. Double kill coming in on the side of Lotus. And with that 4v6, it's not going to be possible for them to move in. The question is Reckless Shockwave indeed going to get maybe a little reckless and try to see if they can get these picks before their heroes can get back? Steves does end up finding Eternal, and I think that's going to be exactly what they need to burn down the remaining stragglers. 30 seconds remain on the clock.
Yeah, Reckless knew there they had the opportunity to really stagger. Oh my God, this is going to have to really push here. Just try and get someone to touch. 10 seconds remaining.
All right. Going in. Let's see if they can get it. 10 seconds remaining on the clock right there as we go ahead and see the Graviton Surge come out. But unfortunately, not going to be able to touch this objective. I don't remember if they even got a tick, to be honest with you. Nope, not a tick to be had on objective Bravo. So it's really going to be a full hold for Lotus on objective Alpha to see if they can keep Reckless Shockwave at bay.
Yeah, great defense there by Reckless Shockwave. And now they've got the win condition, right? You need to cap point A. and then get one tick on point B. So that's why teams often elect to defend first, because they know now what they're working with and what their win condition is.
Gotcha. All right. I want to give a special shout out to Zesty Jegley in the chat. Thank you so much for the sub. We are now 10 away from being able to unlock the next emote space on this channel so that we can make the Hey Jack emote available to everyone. So thank you so much for helping us to try and reach that goal. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dispel now. Dispel, or I guess I should probably be analyzing who's coming out right now.
Right.
As we see, a Reckless Shockwave is setting up to use this Rhine Diva Brawl with GTZ on the Diva. Now, the Diva has been utilized a lot lately to be able to peel for your healers, to be able to get in that back line where your other allies may not be able to find themselves. Steve's on that Symmetra is going to provide a lot of damage if they can get in and do it quickly, but that Maywall going to block them off early.
Yeah, they do the quick TP in, but the main wall just expertly placed here. Steve's, though, gets felled by Berkey, and Lotus is going to clean up here, though. Nyx does get one pick here, so if they can group up quickly, if they can get a quick reset, they do have the respawn advantage here.
That's true. With Volatile out of the fight, it does prevent some stun, some heals, but Kelkaneki does have a lot of tools in the pocket to be able to keep things going. We do see Steve still on that Symmetra, so if we see the same walling off of the May, it may work out in their favor.
Yeah, they're looking. Oh, they're actually looking to catch.
What a bully!
Volatile coming back from spawn, and now they've got the initial pick. They're going to probably, they're looking to push in hard here from the side. They're taking the high ground. Hito just scouting out a bit. Looks like trying to? Yeah, they set up the TP straight to point. Hito's gonna shield his team in. Steve's getting that beam up to charge 3. Steve's burns down Berkey, GTZ. Steve's with another pick on the May, and Shockwave here is going to just clean up this fight. That pick on Volatile was huge there to start this off. It allowed them to really just push in on a 6v5, and which in a brawl, 6v5, it's a pretty good win condition for you.
Yeah, that's absolutely a huge right there. Now with 5 minutes on the clock, they're already looking to aggress on this objective. They're not giving Lotus any time to breathe.
Yeah, they're going right away. They're looking to just, they've got their win condition. They need one tick here, so they're looking to just push very fast. The Amp Matrix comes out from Bernie. Hito's got another Shatter here, although he's frozen up by the May Blizzard. Excellent May Blizzard. Fells both Hito and Steve and Bernie now. And it looks like Lotus is going to at least hold off. Shockwave doesn't like to invest the beat here, which is going to give them the sustain, but it's not going to be enough. Lotus is going to clean up this defense. However, Shockwave here with the 4 ults.
Yeah, the aggression that came out from Shockwave is great, but as we continue to talk about that update where it allows the team that's defending to spawn early, doesn't allow for those rolls as easy as before. They tried to set up as early as they could, but it wasn't going to be enough for them to take this objective, at least without a good fight.
Hito trying to take the high ground here is so important on this point B. He gets pinned mid-shatter, huge pin there from Berkey. Coach cleans up Nyx, and they're still looking to fight this. They're taking this high ground. Steve's with the level 3 beam going on. Not a bronze with the boot kill on Berkey. Steve's gets the pick on Volatile, and they're looking to push on. They're still looking to win this fight.
Yeah, the numbers that they have right now are allowing them to be able to push in, but they've got to remember that the spawn is in the advantage of the defenders. They only have a tick to get, though, and with Volatile now coming out with the rally to try to defend this, it's going to be very hard for them to hold on. It looks like Bernie will end up falling there at the end to Berkey as we go ahead and see the objective continuing to hold strong.
Yeah, these fights have been very prolonged. It looks like, again, they're regrouping here. They're now setting up. It looks like they're going to go top right again to try and take that high ground. Lotus as well, setting up on that high ground. They want to deny that. They have their McCree up there. Uni has Deadeye here. So we'll see how they utilize that. If they're going to use it to take space, to zone out Shockwave. Shockwave does have Beat and Amp Matrix as they make their way up to the top right here.
They are looking for a way to get that rotation underway, but ooh, look at where Hito is.
Yeah, a nice wall that completely bisects Shockwave. Eternal gets frozen up. Berkey is taken down by GTZ. And the bomb is going to come in, but a very nice lamp there to deny the bomb. And now the picks are coming in for Shockwave, and they're making their way to point. Hito with the Shatter, and that'll take down Berkey, and it looks like they are going to... Well, the May is stalling in the ice block. That buys them a few seconds here. But they have control of the point now. Oh, no. And without the ability to touch there, just a little miscommunication. But Shockwave takes that map.
Wow. Wowity. Wow, wow, wow. That was absolutely amazing. The Rhine going in the underground, I thought was very interesting. Definitely not what I expected. So
we've seen some creativity from Shockwave.
Yeah,
definitely very, very
creativity. So first off, Zesty Jiggly. Holy crap, fam. 10 gifted subs, folks. Give it up for Zesty right there. Thank you so much for supporting this amazing community. I hope that that's exactly what we need to go ahead and get this going. Also, thank you, Dire Raven, for the follow. Welcome to the family. Glad to have you. It's going to be interesting to see what they come out with here in the next few moments, as I don't know why I'm continuing to cast. That's the last one. So some things, the one thing that I want to note upon right there is that the good thing about being, if you have a flexible caster like myself that can do both analyst and play-by-play, you noticed there during the mid fight that you were kind of losing steam, but they were still going. And so I was able to pick that up. So when you get into a position like that, and many times it's going to be a little flubbed up if you don't know the caster very well, but if you work with a particular caster, you can really get this down to a science. And the job of the analyst at that point is going to be trying to work with the play-by-play to try to reset the positions in the fight. So as I took over for the ending of that fight to give you a little bit of room to breathe, and then I threw it to you as the fight ended, just giving me like a couple 1-2 liners and then throwing it right back to me so that I can finish the analyst. Or typically what you see in the higher tiers of casting, Dor has been teaching me this that he does with God Moxie, and it's called the bounce. So mid-fight, instead of the analyst necessarily taking over, you see the analyst just take one line and then throw it right back to the play-by-play. So they get a moment to breathe, get a time to reset the fight real quick, and then just go right back into the action. So it's something that takes a lot of practice. I've yet to get it down with any analyst that I've worked with so far. So, but if I continue to work with Ocean, I gotta say, Ocean, you and me, we might be able to get that going. So once again, thank you so much, Reckless Shockwave and Lotus, for those 2 maps. They were absolutely incredible to watch, and we hope you all at home also enjoyed watching those. We're gonna go ahead and rotate into our next map, which is going to be a Flashbacks versus Void on, well, you know where it is. Come on, folks. You know where it is. It's King's Row, because that's the only place that it could be. That's the map that everybody loves to show me for some odd reason. We literally did an entire cast that was just all King's Row maps. It was just absolutely wild. So, as we all know, King's Row lends itself to a lot of different space utilization. It lends itself to a lot of different compositions, but the typical composition that we see is the brawl. The brawl is absolutely huge. Now, I want to note ahead of time on this that during this matchup, there were some issues with connectivity for the side of Flashbacks. They lost their off-tank Train after or during the middle of the first match. And then Vila ended up having to fill in on off-tank, which I don't think is Vila's role to begin with. But they were open ranked, so they were able to fill in that space as needed. But Train is also Flashback's IGL, their in-game leader, so their shot caller. And if you don't really have a backup shot caller to help you out there, then well, we haven't seen this yet, but I'm hoping that Flashbacks are still able to keep some sort of synergy. I mean, the final score of all of their entire match was 3-2, so I'm guessing that is the case. But when you don't have that IGL that's really practiced and trained and trying to focus down, okay, there's the weak point. Go for that target. This is a strategy moving in, then it definitely creates a lot of issues. So we'll continue to keep doing the same. Dispel, do you want to go ahead and start this one off?
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to cast this one. I've had the pleasure of playing both of these teams. I can say they're both contenders right now too. I believe Void is 3-1 and Flashbacks is 4-0 at the time of this match. So this is a big matchup we're seeing here. And surprise, surprise on King's Row, it looks like we're going to see Brawl to open it up.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised by that. And thank you for noting that, chat. I did forget about that. Apologies about the general chat message that ended up coming through. It is what it is. We all know how incredibly toxic general chat is. But it does not represent the morals of this channel. So looking at the defense, we do have the Diva Rhine Brawl coming out for Flashbacks right here. As we see Blood Hungry, you might think that's weird, but using that angle, they can actually get a view as to what's coming in. And we're going to be seeing the Rhine Zarya trying to see if they can turn this in their favor with Anguish already in that backline on the Sombra.
Yeah, Blood Hungry right now, just trying to hold this corner here. Excellent patience by them. The Ant Matrix already comes out from Void. That's a key cooldown now that's not at their disposal. Anguish looking for a hack here as well on that Sombra. And Blood Hungry already builds a Shatter. He doesn't find anything, but he's getting a lot of value on these corner swings. And again, these two teams are just jockeying for space right now. Now the Coalescence comes out from Apathy, which is going to allow Flashbacks to reclaim a bit of this space. And Blood Hungry and Vix both get picks here, and that's going to allow them to push in and clean up this first initial fight.
So the difference between the Rhine Diva and the Rhine Zarya is something that we talk about very often. The Rhine Zarya is great when you want to put in a lot of damage and you want to do it quickly. The Rhine Diva has a lot more sustain power because the defense matrix, although having a cooldown, doesn't have as much of a cooldown as the bubbles for Zarya. And as the fight just kept going on, it was harder for them to sustain.
And we see a massive hack here by Anguish on the Zarya Magic Otter, who had his grab. So that hacks up the grab here. Although Void is going to buy enough time, but a massive Shatter by Blood Hungry. He didn't get one on the first Shatter, but who cares? He got the second one. That's an easy cleanup for Flashbacks.
That was absolutely huge. And you saw the positioning on that. They were giving up space on the objective and knew that they were going to be giving it up. But with Blood Hungry knowing that they were that close to the Shatter and being able to have the rest of the team distract Showdown Shane to be able to get that Shatter in the back line and clean that up. Ooh, chef's kiss, baby.
And Magic Otter going to go for the quick grab here. The beat comes out on behalf of Flashbacks, but the Coalescence and Blossom are going to tear right through that. Flashbacks again going to secure the point here, although they did invest 3 ults, I believe, there. 4 ults, actually. They used EMP as well.
Yeah, that might be unfortunate going into this next fight. Only having Vila remaining with the Diva Bomb is going to be hard for them to continue to sustain on this objective. It's really going to be up to a huge Blood Hungry Shatter to see if they can lock this down again.
And Shadow gets the flash on Anguish, pushes him back a bit. The Diva Bomb comes out to kind of zone Flashbacks off the point. Shadow Shane gets Blood Hungry with the Fire Strike. That's a big pick. And Gatsby with the Blossom to clean up this point. It looks like that's going to be point A. goes to Void now.
So yeah, that was the chaos that I knew was probably going to ensue right there. Vila throwing the bomb up to try to create space, but instead of just backing off, we ended up seeing Void just kind of rotate through the Alderworth Hotel and start getting those picks on the rest of Flashbacks. Giving them another 2.5 minutes on the clock, they're going to have plenty of space to make here in the streets.
Yeah, and Void is looking to take some space here on streets. Magic Otter building some charge. He's at 60% already on this fight. Although Flashback's looking to reclaim space. They're not backing down. They force the Immortality Field. So that's a big cooldown out from Void as well. And Bloodhungry now is looking to push up here on this Coalescence.
All right. Graviton Surge coming in to try to reset this.
Yeah, and they managed to that's an excellent Graviton Surge, because that basically ended Flashback's push. They're going to push Flashbacks now back. They're going to claim this this middle part of Streets phase, and they're going to look to push it in here. Flashbacks probably has one more recontest here, and this is going to decide the Streets phase.
Yeah, Anguish had a really hard time trying to get in position for that EMP. It was huge. It ended up getting 5 people, but by the time the EMP hit, it was just already too late. The picks had come in for Void, and the Amp Matrix coming out now.
And Anguish gets a nice hack in the backline. He does have to teleport out. Flashbacks are going to push up here. Bloodhungry with the Shatter. Vila does get a pick on the Lucio. And he was 70 to beat, so no beat there. Vix again with a nice Blossom, kills 2. Monsoon cleaning up the fight on the Lucio. And Anguish as well cleans up Magic Otter. That's a big reset of the Zarya's charge as well. And they hold strong here on this final bit of Streets phase.
All right, Vila using the map to go ahead and reset that mech, because they're going to need it for this fight. There are a lot of ultimates sitting in the pocket right now. You got Magic Otter and Gatsby with that Beyblade Graviton combo, and Sweaty Asian with that pick on Anguish to start. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's a big pick on behalf of Void. They're going to now, they smell the blood in the water. They're going to push in here hard on this. They also have the Grav. The Grav does come out. Vila, though, trying to buy some space with Bomb. They also invest Beat here to just buy some time to wait out these ults coming out from Void. But Gatsby with 2 picks on the Death Blossom. Vila does take down Shadow Shane, but it looks like Void is going to... They have the numbers here. We're going to see if they can clean up the fight. It looks like they are, and they are going to finish Streets phase and move on to this final part of King's Row.
That was absolutely huge right there. A big eat from Vila at the beginning of that fight with the Graviton. But unfortunately, they continued to stay. They had to stay so together because they had to keep the payload from continuing to move. And so we ended up seeing Gatsby, despite the Graviton Surge that would have kept them together anyway, able to pull off a massive hit. And whoa, 6-man EMP.
Huge EMP there. Flashbacks know they're at an ult disadvantage here, so they're just looking to take a fast fight, and that's exactly what they do. They hit a massive EMP. They bring out the Shatter. That's an easy cleanup. But now we're going into the next fight. Void has 4. They're going to build 5 ults here, and Flashbacks, again, are at an ult disadvantage. So we'll see how they deal with that on this defense.
So Anguish has realized that maybe not going to be able to build up that EMP once again. I'm going to look for the zoning Deadeye with the McCree. As they go ahead and push into this objective, it's going to be hard with these ultimates in the pocket.
And Shadow, and oh man, right in the front line, he triggers the Deadeye. Bloodhungry tried to hold his shield there, but they burned through Bloodhungry's shield just in time for Shadow to get the 4K. That's a huge Deadeye, and importantly, it means they didn't have to expend those other 3 ults they have here coming into the final stretch.
All right, moving into final fight territory, Graviton and Ant Matrix being utilized. Let's see if they get... Oh, that huge boop.
Monsoon. Yeah, Monsoon gets the double boop. That's going to buy them a little bit of time and space. Vix does get the kill on McCree. The beat comes out. That's going to give them... give Void a little bit of sustain here, though. They're still making a push here. Apathy's back on the Moira just to try and keep Vix alive. Give Bloodhungry time to get back in the fight. He does. He gets the kill on Ruby. Bloodhungry with 2 kills here. It looks like they're going to repel this push here. Vila with the kill on Gatsby, and Flashbacks with a beautiful turn in the fight there. It looks like overtime is going to run out.
Wow, Anguish holding on to the Deadeye to try to zone out anyone that was getting ready to touch that objective, ends up clipping the Tracer right in the head as they turn the corner right there. Just, you hate to see it, but with getting 2 and a lot of change for Kings Row, they've set themselves up pretty well. Getting that final objective is never an easy feat. You know, the spawn's literally right there, so if the picks don't come in hot, fast, and heavy, it's really going to be hard for your team to hold on. But we're seeing a lot of transition from the side of Flashbacks, ill-communicated ultimate usage, over investment, and like we said before, without their shot caller in this fight, they might be just a little bit lost. Maybe really trying to figure out when ultimates should be used and what the best combos are to use, or just not communicating in enough time everyone's positioning so that they make sure that investment comes in exactly when they need it to.
Yeah, anytime you have a major disruption to your comm structure, that's in a team-based format. In ladder, no one's comming, but in these team-based formats here, where the teams often are mechanically pretty similar, but it really just comes down to who has the better comms, who has the better coordination, who's rotating their ults best, and that is going to be a challenge for Flashbacks in this fight, and we saw it rear its head a bit. Anguish is going to come out here and scout a little bit on the Sombra. Blood Hungry trades the initial fire strikes. They're going to rotate around to the right side of Pillar. Anguish making their way up to the top high ground, looking for that backline hack. And Blood Hungry, they managed to take space on the point here. And they do get the hack on the Rhine. Immortality Field comes out to keep him up. And Shadow Shane is pushing forward now. They're able to reclaim this space, though, on the back of Shadow's pick.
Yeah, that was definitely not the transition that they were looking for. They were hoping that the pick on, or the hack onto Showdown Shane was going to be enough for them to push in on that, but not only did the Immortality Field keep them up, but they weren't worried about everyone that may have been low on health, and going in a 5v6 after that was just going to be a death sentence. With already a minute off the clock, let's see if they can make it work this time.
A quick amp matrix here from Sweaty Asian. The Shatter does come out from Blood Hungry. They trade Blood Hungry down and Ruby down. Monsoon gets the finishing blow on Shadow Shane, and Shadow again with the 4K Deadeye. They are just doing absolute work here on the McCree. That's 2 4Ks this map for them.
Shadow, they have frickin' families, bro. Oh my goodness. But this is coming up huge on the back of Magic Otter. That bubble was perfectly timed so that the Deadeye was activated as soon as the bubble ended.
Yeah, Shadow Shane has Shatter here, but they get hacked up, and a nice grab by Magic Otter. They're going to push forward and try and stop this push from Flashbacks, and they do take this space back. They're now at Arches, or at the central choke here. But they're not going to chase too much. So you're going to now back up, reset on the point.
The big pick that they need to be looking for right now is Magic Otter. With all that charge that Zarya has right now, it's going to be really hard to continue to push into this, because it's going to go straight to 100 as soon as they get back in the fight. But they got some ultimates online. Let's see if we can get that EMP bomb combo.
Yeah, it looks like Vix is looking. Yeah, the EMP Death Blossom. You saw Vix flanking there. Anguish with a perfectly timed EMP that just allows Vix to hit that Q button and mow down the entire Void team. They're going to take point A here with a minute and a half remaining.
That was a lot of time that Void shaved off of that time bank, though. Very similar to what we saw for the side of Flashbacks, although they kind of got it in one fell swoop. But if the fights continue to go like this, where it's going to come down to Anguish's EMP for Flashbacks to be able to take this fight, I don't know. That's going to make it really hard for them to push in on this. And wait, I believe a payload is being abandoned, folks.
Yeah, they are. Flashbacks is looking to claim space here. I think maybe a bit too aggressively, as the Shatter from Shadow Shane, takes down all of Flashbacks. Although Flashbacks, not quite the follow-up that you would want on that Shatter. They're looking to turn this fight still. Gatsby, though, the DPS just trading ults here, fight to fight. Gatsby with a 3K on the Blossom, and Void does manage to clean this up. Flashbacks, maybe a bit over-eager there with looking to touch spawn doors before they push the payload a bit.
Yeah, and that was going to be the biggest issue with that fight from the get-go. It doesn't matter if you push the enemy team all the way back to point Bravo. The fact that the payload wasn't moving to get past this choke could have possibly allowed them the space to be able to push back in, and there's Void ready to take the bookshop again.
Void with the Grav Amp Matrix combo. The nice beat does come out from Monsoon, very nicely timed. They're going to survive through that Grav. Void though does deploy their Immortality Field, and they're just looking, it looks like they're going to just trade a few blows here, and they're going to reclaim each of their respective corners. Wait for cooldowns to come back up. Although Apathy triggers the Coalescence, Flashbacks is looking to push in here. They do get Sweaty Asian. Actually, both supports now for Void are down. So the tanks here are going to hit the W key, and they're going to clean up Void here on this fight. It's just Gatsby on the Reaper. The two supports dealing with him. Okay, Vila does peel for their support, so that's always, as a support player myself, always nice when your off tank gives you a little peel, deals with the Gatsby Reaper, and it looks like they're going to try and push it in here. We'll see if Void recontests.
Yeah, and with the EMP online, they're going to have a hard time doing that recontest to begin with. Let's go ahead and see if they can shut this down before it happens.
And there's the EMP from Anguish. They have been on point with their EMPs these last couple of fights. Flashback surges forward, gets the pick on Magic Otter. Shadow Shane is down. Void has no tanks here, but they're contesting point. But they do manage to get Ruby. Gatsby brings out the Blossom, gets two. He is consistently getting value out of these Blossoms, but might be a little too late here, as Vix is going to clean up the final two, and they are going to get finish Streets phase here.
At the end of the day, though, they did burn off quite a bit of time off of that time bank. Not nearly as much as we saw for Team Void going into this objective, because they're only going to have about 1 or 2 fights to be able to try to lock this down. But when you're looking at the ultimate differential, the Blossom and the Diva Bomb, the Shatter to probably open it all up, and it could spell doom for Void right here.
Yeah, Flashback's definitely coming in with an all advantage here. They also are about to have beat. Magic Otter needs to use this grab before that beat comes online, and they indeed do. They get the grab off. The Amp Matrix comes out. They're gonna try and burn through Flashbacks. They get the pick on Monsoon, so that beat definitely isn't coming out anytime soon. Magic Otter looking to push up here. They do repel Flashbacks back to Flashbacks. Now is gonna reset here, but critically, those are two. Grab no longer at the disposal of Void. They've only got the Shatter here.
Yeah, without that Graviton, it's going to be hard for them to continue. But as you said, with Monsoon coming up to that beat, they're going to have a lot of sustain. It's going to be down to Showdown Shane to really get a massive Shatter right here so they can get that early pick on Monsoon.
Yeah, they're definitely coming in at all disadvantage here. Flashbacks they have the sustain, so they're going to need to look for an early pick here, I think. And kind of end this fight before Flashbacks has a chance to hit Q.
All right.
Now Flashbacks beginning to make their way up to the corner. The offensive Coalescence comes out from Apathy. They've been using Coalescence very offensively as a tempo. Again, the just massive EMP from Anguish. I think that's 4 in a row where he's gotten 4 or more people. The beat comes out, and again, Flashbacks, they're hitting Q. They're getting the kills. Blood Hungry cleans up too. Vila cleans up Gatsby. They're looking to push it in the final stretch here. And Void here is just looking for a recontest. They swap to the ball. Ball does get in to get the touch. Although, oh no. Oh, Magic Otter. No. Okay, Magic Otter, all according to plan. Gatsby with a massive Blossom kills 3. They're going to be able to turn this and just hold on. By the skin of their teeth here. Void manages to hold on this final stand, and there's 5 seconds left, and what looked like to be everything falling Flashback's way might very quickly now fall apart, as Void does manage to make the tall stand on this last part of King's Row.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible right there, and just seeing Magic Otter being able to get themselves back up there. I know that positioning is always hard. The place that I always get booped off and or have a hard time to get back up is Legion Gardens. You try to get the boop off of the bridge, but then you get booped off yourself, and then you're trying to climb out of that corner. It's so difficult, but lots more forgiving there apparently on Kings Row third point, and not making sure that that ball was completely out of the fight. Ended up really spilling doom there for Void. So good, or sorry for Flashback. So good on you, Void. Good on you. That was really good play right there. So goodness gracious, folks. As soon as we started, we're already at the end of our night. So, of course, I want to thank you so much for being here. We appreciate everything that you provide to this community, whether it be OWTC or right here on my channel as well. As you know, I'm going to be feeding in a lot of things in the near future. I think with all those subs coming in, I'm almost kind of worried to see if that first deposit from Twitch is going to be coming in soon, which means we got to start doing stuff. You know, we might do a giveaway or two, might be doing lots of other stuff. But I think the thing to really focus on is the fact that you need to be paying attention to Overwatch Tranquility coming up this next week with Event Week. You can hit exclamation donate in the chat. I believe I updated it. So let's go ahead and double check. I didn't actually test it. There we go. Yeah, so season 6 for event week is right there, ready and raring to go. We are a third of the way to our goal already. Event week hasn't even started yet, folks, and we're a third of the way to the goal. That is the most that we have had walking into event week. And last year, we ended up making it up to $3,400. Now, if you don't know, Rise Above the Disorder is an incredible organization. They specialize in trying to help those that are in need of mental health services, making sure that they have the financial fortitude to be able to afford those services. Because as we know, especially during the COVID pandemic, that kind of mind sink that everybody's just been going into, you know, depression has probably been heavily on the rise right now. And if you were suffering with mental health issues like myself, probably found that it was a lot worse over the past year. So anything that you can do to help, be sure to head on over there, exclamation donate. I'll give you the link, and anything you can donate is greatly appreciated. And just so you know, I will be giving a very nice thing to Rise Above the Disorder if and only if we hit our $3,500 goal. So that's all you got to do. Get to the top of the bar, $3,500, and you will see a very nice thing happening for Rise Above the Disorder. So I'm just
Get
saying.
those nices in chat.
Exactly. You can make it happen. You can make the nice thing happen. So, King Tanner's in the chat saying, "Is that the Dispel caster?" It is. It is the Dispel caster, and Dispel has been doing a really great job.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. It's been a lot of fun being here. This is. Oh,
uh,
my video looks like it's getting a bit glitchy, but
It's all right. It happens. It happens, unfortunately. But yeah, you were doing absolutely great that last round. The only thing that I was noticing towards the end is that you were just taking a little bit more time to analyze at the end of
Mhm.
fights. I have this habit that I'm
Yeah.
trying to break too, where I actually end when the fight ends, but then I keep talking. And it's like just noticing that you have ended it. That should be when you push it over, and then you just shut up at that point. It's just something to focus on. I actually got that as my biggest note from Contenders Trials yesterday. But to be completely honest with you folks, I have a hard time remembering what even happened because I was, you know, when if you're a performer like myself and you do that very first performance, with the new material, that first play, that first musical, the first time you're on stage for that event, and you just kind of black out, and like what you're doing, but it's not the top tier. It's not exactly like you're not able to kind of think outside of what being able to like look at my notes and saying, oh crap, like I really need to be focusing on my pattern breathing, and I need to be focusing on my making sure I'm throwing earlier. It was more so like, I am the play-by-play and I cast like this. Go. Okay, I talk again. Like that was what was going on in my brain yesterday. So for those of you that ended up checking that out over at the Reflash channel, first off, thank you. Holy goodness, seeing numbers 5, 6, 700 viewers for the first day of freaking Contenders Trials. That is huge. That is huge, folks. So thank you for those of you that came out and support. And if you haven't watched it yet, you can head on over, just search up Monkey Bubble Reflash, or I think it's reflash.gg/YouTube is a custom URL we have for that particular site. But actually now we are able to make an actual custom URL to be able to use it now that the subscription cap has been hit there. So all right. And the only note that I had for Laggy, during the second round, I was finding that you were staying on heroes maybe a little bit too long during fights. And I'm sure that you noticed that as well, staying on the Sombra when the Sombra translocated and you were stuck inside the hotel. And it was like the rest of the fight's going on out there, but we have no idea what's going on as casters. And then just at the end, when the fight was over on point 1 and you were just kind of following the Reaper the whole time. I mean, yes, very brooding. We love it. But, coming out, getting that wide shot, watching the objective be captured, or maybe seeing how the defensive team is setting up as they're coming back into the area might be better options. Again, maybe something you go over with Booth. I just know that would be something that I would be looking at as a caster, because then it gives me a bigger picture to be able to take from. So otherwise, you two are doing absolutely phenomenal. So let's get into this last match, which is a firefight versus Game of Throws on the best place that you na Havana. And we're just going to go ahead and get this show on the road. So for Havana, we do have a firefight coming in on the defense to start things off. Dispel, what do you see coming in on this defense, and how effective you think it's going to be here on Widow's Bowling Alley?
Yeah, interesting on a map so dominated often by snipers. They're going with 2 projectile heroes, but actually it looks like the reason for this is they're looking to close hold here. Yep. So they're going for that Junkrat, they're going for that fire spam damage, and Game of Throws is on a dive here. So we'll see if they have to swap off here to just deal with this initial close hold at all.
Something tells me I feel like they're just going to literally be able to just dive past the close hold, to be completely honest with you. We will see this rotation coming out as they kind of poke out. They see that the close hold is here. The biggest issue they're going to have to deal with is that Far Mercy in the sky. And already we see Wheezy caught out of position, and Kura going to go ahead and take advantage of that, with the initial pick already in place. And now Chi-Chi already out of the fight as well. King Yakko soon to follow. This fight is done and over, but the spawn is literally right there. It's going to really take Game of Throws just resetting real quick and setting up to be able to push past this once again.
Yeah, the key to breaking any close hold like this is how well can your team really group up, stop trickling in, just reset. Hopefully, even if you get a pick, you have such a massive spawn advantage. Just do the quick regroup and come back out as a full 6. And we'll see if they're able to break this, because Firefight is doing an excellent job here of keeping them at arm's length with this spam.
Ooh, Joash and Chi-Chi trading blows on the objective, making it a 3v5 fight right now. But we see the picking coming in from King Yakko. Without that Mercy, it's going to be continually hard to hold this. So now it's going to be a 6v4 fight going into this next one. And I think maybe we should see Firefight back off now.
Yeah, Firefight is electing, though, to kind of die on cart. They're taking this close hold. Oh, and what is Josh doing here? He's got Pyre. He's looking for the sneaky. We'll see. Game of Thrones here, though, has to come out quick before these respawners get in for Firefight.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've already wasted their time. I am not exactly for certain why they waited and spawned so long. The composition that they had was perfect. They will end up wasting that tire, but that wastes another 10 seconds that they could have been pushing out this objective. Now it's going to be a 6v6 fight as they go ahead and finally emerge from the spawn. As we see right now, you can't see me coming up with a massive shatter. Josh able to get the follow-up onto Beanie right there, and I think that is going to be all she wrote once again. A minute 40 remaining on the clock as we go ahead and see Firefight continue this very close hold.
Yeah, Firefight right now is just putting on a clinic on how to close hold. That tire actually, it didn't find anyone, but it did a critical job of just stalling out, preventing Game of Thrones from pushing out while they gave their two respawners time to get back.
Yeah, and that was really unfortunate too, because Josh was waiting that entire time, and you could have worn out the tire and still been able to get back out there soon enough without having to worry about it. But Josh already getting that initial pick onto Wheezy, making it a 5v6 as the barrage does grab Chi-Chi, but they're coming out with a Far Mercy of their own. We see King Yakko taking to the sky, ends up getting separated from Beanie though. Beanie gotta stay up. Oh no, we got double Sky Princesses going on right here. Is stressed on that Echo, looking to see if they can provide that value, but the picks just continue to come in. Only 40 seconds remaining on the clock as the stagger continues to come out for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones needed to reset earlier here. They got one pick and then lost two, and at that point, when you're fighting a close hold, just get back and spawn, regroup, and come out with a 6v5. Importantly, they are on a ball now, although Diva's stake will fall. That's a critical pick.
That is not a great way to start things off. We see the princesses in the sky now, trying to see if they can hold it all together. Beanie trying to get away, but Kura finds them in the end. Here comes the tire out once again from Joash, trying to get that double. Will end up being successful as we continue to see it. We are less than 5 meters. Overtime is now ticking away.
Yeah, and Firefight is just going to clear off this point. It looks like the Diva does come in, but it looks like they're just kind of hanging on for dear life here as Firefight looks to clean this up.
Yeah, this is just going to be an unfortunate set of circumstances if the picks don't come in soon enough. 4.86 meters, probably one of the closest holds that I have seen here, folks. And first off, I apologize to Game of Thrones. I did not see these ahead of time. We had all your codes, so we had no idea how this was going to go down. But I'm really hoping that Game of Thrones are going to be able to turn this on their head.
Hey, if Firefight can hold at, what was it, 4.9 meters? I mean, 4.8 meters is doable. So, Game of Thrones does have a win condition. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy one by any means.
No, it is not. Yeah, that's going to be the hardest thing that they're going to have to do right now, is that the win condition is they essentially just have to keep them in spawn. That is the win condition. If you do not keep them in spawn and keep them from pushing that look, I cannot believe the golden box of victory is already overlapping the payload and it has not moved. That is just gotta be, that is gotta be one for the books there, folks. We do see the defense coming in again with this Rhymes Winston that we saw them playing a little bit right there. The Winston's great to be able to get that peel, that hybrid dive, so to speak, but I don't know. That is going to be a really hard one to push against, especially if you got Kura coming out on this Bastion.
Yeah, it does give you a lot of health to work with and 2 shields to rotate. And this Bastion is just going to get an immediate pick. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not going to be a great way to start things off. Kura Ore taking down the Immortality. Pick. Team kill rings out loud and proud, and the game's over, folks. We will see Firefight go ahead and take the victory here on Havana.
Yeah, we do see again, Firefight is making a push to be one of the top teams in Harmony tier. And with that close hold, I think we saw a reason why. That was a very well executed close hold by them. Rotating quickly, stalling enough time for the respawners to get back in. Just a very nice display by Firefight.
Yeah, I gotta say, Game of Thrones has been having a very hard first stage, and that's quite okay. I know that Game of Thrones and many other teams are coming from a community that aren't used to this level of competition, this level of investment, constantly, scrimming and getting coaching and this kind of stuff. It was very much more for the fun of it, just kind of enjoying the camaraderie. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. But unfortunately here, there's got to be a little bit more investment right there. So I'm going to be really excited to see, because as you know, it doesn't end here, folks. Stage 1 just gets you placed. So Game of Thrones has an opportunity to bring it back. But look, if you have looked at the rules in the Discord for how stage 2 is going to go for bracket C, it's very interesting. Bracket C has a very odd setup just because of the number of teams that we have, and because each tier has a different number of teams available because of teams dropping out. And so it's seeing the Swiss style put back in. We used it in season 5 in the Transcendence tier because we had teams drop out, and it worked really effectively. But you're seeing now more teams in this Swiss rotation that this really is going to be like one of their final shots. If they go into this and they have a hard, first and possibly even second match, it might be done before you even know it. There might not even be a chance to get into the playoffs at that point. So I just say that every team right now, the possibility is still on the board to make it into that playoffs bracket. All right. The opportunity is still there on the table. You got to take this next week, figure out whatever you need to do to turn this sucker around for whichever teams are sitting at the bottom of their pool right now, and just bring it on back. That's all you got to do. Just bring it on back. So, wow. We are at the end of our night. Thank you to Nix OW for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. And that's really going to be it for us here. I'm going to be really excited if I find out that we've hit our goal. I don't know how the system works with the subs. Like I get the rating that we're at 4 in my setup, but there are 2 technically concurrent subs that I have right now. So I'm hoping that with that big boost once again that we got from Zesty Jaggly, just wow. First off, thank you so much. That's, as you can see, the biggest donation I've gotten on this channel. So thank you. And I'm really hoping that that's what pushes it over the cap so that we can start doing things here on the channel. But, other than that, a reminder once again, exclamation donate in the chat. Event week is next week, and it is going to be busy. So be sure to be checking that out. Want to give a special thank you to Dispel and LaggySon. You can find them at Dispel_OW and LaggySon on Twitter. Gentlemen, is there anything that anything else you'd like to shout out before we end our evening?
I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you, chat, for watching. This was my first casting experience, so hopefully you survived through my stutters and ums and ahs. It was a lot of fun, and I just want to say I am so excited for stage 2. I'm on a team, so I'm excited for that. Yeah. But Harmony tier is looking very exciting. Team really. All teams have kind of shown weaknesses at points. No one's undefeated, so it's gonna be a fun stage 2.
The flashbacks issue is
they're looking strong. Yeah. They're looking very strong, and they're missing an IGL, but we'll see. Stage 2, everything's up for grabs.
They were just missing an IGL for that match.
Yeah.
So I think we really need to kind of That's kind of like the anomaly in their structure. Although, let
Oh,
me just
certainly, yeah.
say, let me just say, my week 1 hot take, I got it. So no Tranquility veteran team ended up coming out with the 4-0 or the 5-0 in stage 1. So woot woot, go me, awesome. Unless you count Joey Esports, which I probably should. So I guess maybe I didn't get it. So, but nevertheless, it was absolutely incredible to see you all playing over these last 5 weeks. We've got plenty more Overwatch to go. Thank freaking gods, no King's Row for the next 4 weeks. So I'm really excited about that because there's just so many more maps. There's so many more compositions and strategies that can be used. I think Numbani is in the rotation now, and that's essentially the dive version of King's
Yeah,
Row.
we'll see some double bubble probably
That's right.
coming
I want to
out.
see some dive. I want to see some double bubble. Some of that hybrid, whatever it is. I want to see it. I want to see those unique strategies being pulled out because when you head into those playoffs, you better make sure that you've got everything in your book of strats going into those playoffs because you got one chance in every match, and if you lose, that's it. We don't do a loser's bracket here because that shit takes way too long. That shit would take way too long. Everybody's like, do a loser's bracket. No, the season is already like 3 months long. That would like extend it another month and a half or something like that. No, we are not doing that. But we will see. You have 4 weeks right now, event week, and then the 3 weeks of stage 2 to really shine, to really those at the top to really kind of lay the line in the sand for the others at the top, saying that you think you're good, but you're not, and those at the bottom, you have a chance to be able to climb your way back up and show that you deserve to be those final couple playoff spots. So I'm really excited to see what this community does, regardless of where you end up placing. If you don't make it into the playoffs, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. We do this for fun, and there's always next season. There's always the next season, and we're going to be doing lots of other fun stuff as well. So we hope that you continue to stay part of the community and continue to be active. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name's CaptJack, and we'll see you all next time.